Hey guys, Brian from Brian Boas here. I'm really fortunate to have a lot of amazing boas in my collection, and today I want to show you some of the animals that I'm growing up to serve as future breeders here at Brian Boa. So if you want to see what I'm going to be working with in the next few years ahead, be sure to stay tuned. So all these animals are not going into breeding trials for the 2021 to 2022 breeding season, but I expect some of them will start to come online at the end of 2022. So about a little over a year from now. Others, it might be an additional 2 to 3 years. But most of these animals are holdbacks, and I'm really lucky that I have a lot of really good holdbacks. Is the best way to grow out a breeding group is to save babies from your first litters, grow them up, and they're going to make the best breeders. And I thought I'd start with this beautiful Taranhumara Mountain Boa female. This is a female born in 2018. And she's actually from this really high pink female that I have. And you can see the beautiful colors on this animal. She's just dripping with lots and lots of pinks on her sides, her back, even her belly. And people that think that Mexican boas and Tarahumara boas are dull and not colorful, you got to see these animals. They'll knock your socks off. I really love this animal's pattern as well. She's got this beautiful circle back pattern, down her ventral surface. And just look at that pink. It's just crazy. If you're not familiar with Taranhumara, they're one of my all-time favorite locality boas. This female is only going to get about another foot longer. She's about 3 feet, a little over 3 feet now. She'll maybe get 4.5 feet. Great dwarf boa, great to handle, great to work with. Just nothing not to love about these Taranhumara boas. And this female could go into breeding potentially in the 2022 to 2023. So about a year and a few months from now. But just awesome animal, Taranhumara Mountain Dwarf Boa. Next we have a locality boa favorite and a must for any locality collection. This is a Hog Island Boa, and this is a female that was born here in 2019. So she's that makes her 2 years old now. She's maybe, I don't know, 3 feet long, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I actually have a couple different bloodlines of Hog Island. I have some pure Sears bloodline that came from Vin Russo. This particular animal is half Sears bloodline, and then I have this female that I got from Ron Greenberg. I'm not sure what bloodline she is in, but I really like the combination of the Sears with this other bloodline, which is this animal. My pure Sears Hog Islands are nice, don't get me wrong, but I found when I crossed it with this other bloodline, these animals just really speak to me more. They're not as clean, they're a little darker, but they're so super colorful. These oranges and pinks and greens and blues and amazing colors, lots of nice speckling. The Sears bloodline ones I have are a little bit lighter, they're a little bit cleaner looking, but I just really like this combination. So actually I tried to pair my female up again this year that produced this, and unfortunately I didn't get any babies. I think my male had bred for 4 years in a row. Maybe he was just a little tired, but we'll try again next year. But this shows you the beauty of these Hog Island boas. Not a huge boa. This female will probably get to be, I don't know, 5-6 feet long, and they're just gorgeous in coloration. One of the earliest available locality boas, all the way back in the 70s, these were available in captivity. And there's quite a large number of them in captivity. A lot of them were taken off the island, unfortunately. And now, fortunately, they're completely protected. The numbers had declined very low, but now they're on the rebound. But there's no need for any more to come from the wild, since we have so many of these beauties in captivity. The Hog Island Boa, another locality boa favorite. This third snake is actually one I didn't produce. This is from a really good breeder, a good friend of mine, Michael Beach. And I got this female back in 2020, so she's about a year and a half old now. And so this is actually probably the last locality of boa, or type of locality I will add to the collection, since I'm kind of maxed out with the animals I have. But it's really fastly become one of my top all-time favorites. And I know I say that about all the localities, but this one I really mean it. I just love these boas. They're so chill to take out. They're so beautiful to look at. They've got gorgeous colors, really high contrast, much more laid back and relaxed than a true red tail. They got this beautiful brick red tail. I don't care if you don't think this is a true red tail. To me, this is every bit as special as a true red tail, and I just love these animals. So this female, as I mentioned, it's about 1.5 years. It's going to be a little while before she's ready to breed. You know, I'm not in any hurry, just want to grow her up, you know, take my time. I got another female as well, and a male. At one point when boas were first available in captivity, going back many decades, a Colombian boa looked like this, and this is, you know, what a pure Colombian boa looks like. Unfortunately, a lot of the boas you see on the pet market have been either crossbred with other localities or morphs have been bred in. And although they make great pets, and I wouldn't, you know, dissuade you from getting one as a pet, they're just not exactly the same thing as a pure locality boa like this. So really love these animals. And if you're looking for a locality boa that makes a great pet, Branchia is definitely up there on the top of the list. This next boa is completely different to handle than my Branchia boa. This is a Pearl Island boa, and they're definitely one of the most active types of boas. They move around and they don't really like to sit still. Sometimes they can be a little nippy, although this guy is not, he's never bitten me, he's pretty chill. But this is a male born here in 2019 from my first litter of Pearl Island boas. And so I actually had another litter in May, and I still have a baby available. So if you're interested in the Pearl Island, he's listed now on Fauna Classifieds. There's a link to my ads in the description under the video. But you can see the beautiful appearance of this animal. He's got very few saddles. He's got this reduced pattern and this beautiful golden brown color. I really like about these animals is they have a few saddles just on the tail. They got the blotches of color on the tail, but most of the body is patternless. They also have this almost iridescence to them, or pearlescence. This is really pearly luster appearance. Really cool animal. I love the shapes of their heads. They're definitely one of the most divergent forms of boa with their long heads and big eyes and flared nostrils. You can see they're very elongated as well. They're built for life in the trees, so they have this really long body plan. Real cool boa if you're looking for something different. Not so much to handle as much, although you can certainly handle them, but more a species just to really admire their biology and, you know, enjoy the diversity of locality boas, the Pearl Island boa. If you're familiar with my breeding projects, you know that true red-tailed boas, Boa constrictor, are really my bread and butter. And, you know, probably the two localities I've worked with the most are the Peruvian and the Suriname, so I had to get one out. This is a Suriname born in 2016 from my Prometheus bloodline. And this female was definitely a standout in the litter. She just has this gorgeous pattern. You know, it almost looks unreal. The peaking of the saddles and the connection of the saddles, and gorgeous long red tail. Lots of nice pinkish, you know, purplish peachy overtones to her scales as well. So this female is a little bit smaller than some of the other animals I held back from the litter. Some animals, they just grow slower, you know. Even if you give them the same food regimen, some are going to grow faster. It's completely normal. You don't need to obsess about your boa's growth rate. But this is a 5-year-old animal, and she's maybe, I don't know, 4.5 to 5 feet long. She's not a huge animal. I've heard about Suriname boas being bred at 5 years. That would probably be the youngest I would breed. This female, obviously I'm not going to breed her this coming season. She may not be ready the following season either, in the fall of 2022. Just has to see how it goes. Sometimes they do take 7 years or longer to reach breeding size. So gorgeous animal, you know, one of my favorite Surinames I produced, and a beautiful example of the Prometheus bloodline of Suriname true red-tailed boas. I had to pull out a Morph Boa for this video since I've just shown localities so far, and of course, as you know, my specialty is locality boas. I just have a handful of Morph Boas, and my first morph breeding I'm planning for this fall. But I thought I'd show you this guy. This is a Moonglow. If you're not familiar with the morph, it's a combination of the Kaal albino with the hypomelanistic as well as the anerythristic. So beautiful looking animal. When I first got this guy, he was quite a bit more white, and I noticed he was getting kind of yellowish, and at first I was kind of disappointed, but now I just think he looks amazing. He's got this glow, and you know, the word moon glow, you look up at a full moon on the night, at night, that's exactly what this guy looks like. He's literally glowing this beautiful pale yellow color. It's, you quite intense. I also love the eyes on these animals. They just have these silvery white eyes. It's so cool looking. I know morphs aren't for everybody. A lot of people on this channel, they don't like morphs. Morphs appeal to me for a different reason than the localities. There's just something fun about them, And localities, of course, are fun too, but with the morphs, it's kind of cool to predict the results of the crosses and think about combining the different looks, the different morphs together. And then if you ever bring one of your non-boa keeping friends over and you want to show them a few snakes, take out this one, people are going to be blown away. I've had people look at it and say, is that even alive? I mean, it just looks so much different from a wild boa, but it's really just 3 mutations away from a wild boa, which is quite amazing to think about. But truly a designer boa. This is truly a domestic animal, not unlike your dog or cat. So this guy obviously isn't that big. He's about 1.5 years, maybe 3 feet. The morphs, of course, do grow quite a bit faster than the localities in general. So it's possible this guy might be ready to pair up in another few years. Just have to see how it goes. But, Moonglow boa, definitely, something neat to look at. Thought I'd show you one more cool Morph Boa. This is definitely one of the coolest I have, and this is an Img Hypo Jungle. And so it's 3-gene boa. They're all incomplete dominant genes. Img is the increasing melanin gene, which is one of the coolest genes. Really hot to work with right now. These animals, they start out kind of light in color, and they get darker and darker. You can see all the black flecking that this animal has. But the animal is also hypomelanistic, which reduces the dark pigment in certain areas and changes the shape of the saddles. And then she's also got the jungle gene, which also has some influences on the color and pattern. So really cool look together. If you look at the head of this animal, she's got one of the most beautiful heads of any of my boas. These gorgeous golden eyes that really contrast nicely against the darker background, and she's been getting darker and darker with time, but you can see her dorsal surface is still quite light from the jungle gene. So a lot of competing genes at work here to create this really unusual looking animal. And so to top it off, this animal is possibly het for the VPI-T positive albino. So what I plan for this animal is to pair up with my male VPI-T positive. If things go well, and she is het, I could have some VPI-T positive junglos or jungle sunglows that are IMG. And I've seen pictures of those animals. They're just really amazing looking. Not for everyone, not if you're really into the pure locality thing, but if you want a cool looking boa, that's kind of the pinnacle of the whole designer boa concept. The VPI-T positive IMG junglo is really, a boa that's hard to beat. So love this animal. She's probably has another couple years to go before breeding, but we'll see how it goes. And as you can see, these Morph Boas definitely grow faster than the true red tails in most other localities. One last boa for today's video, and I thought I'd end with a locality. This is one that was born here just last year in 2020. This is another dwarf boa, the Coral Key, from a small island off the coast of Belize. And so this guy is now a little over 1 year old. Still, you can see he's still quite small, although he's put on quite a bit of growth from when he was born. And like the Taranhumara Mountain Boa that I showed you as the first boa, these animals don't get much bigger than around 4.5 feet long. So compared to Taranhumara, they're definitely a little more active. They move around a little bit more. They tend to squeeze a little bit more, so different behavior. But a really great boa to work with, really fun to handle. I love they have kind of this grayish coloration, almost like a naturally occurring anerythristic boa, and real fun boa to work with. I didn't produce any this year, gave my female a year off, but I'm planning on pairing her up again in 2021 to 2022. So with any luck, I should have some full siblings to this male in the summer of 2022. And so it's always great to think about my breeding coming up for next year. Believe it or not, it's almost to the point of the year where I'm going to be pairing up boas again. The year of breeding boas seems to go by so fast. And so I've been thinking about my plans for next year. The Coral Key will almost certainly be one of the pairs. I plan on doing a preview of my 2021 to 2022 breeding pairs in the next few weeks. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So that was some of my boas I'm growing up. None of them are going to be paired up next year, but I imagine that they'll probably be paired up in the next few years ahead. So a lot of exciting things to look forward to here at Brian Boas. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to shoot me a line. Thanks for watching and enjoy your boas.